Gamers8 2023 Street Fighter 6 is not failing to deliver. It has been an absolutely heart-throbbing moment here. Just taking place recently, we saw incredible outcomes, very clutch matches, two players playing out of their mind, and of course, one guy that was on commentary happens to be here right now. But before I reintroduce my two esteemed guests, I must say, there's something in common here on this desk, and I'm gonna say it out loud in front of the cameras. 3, 2, 1. Ball Squad! We assembling, baby. Let's go.
This is not smooth, man. Like,
it's not enough. I feel like you have to.
I'm doing the shine check.
Oh, I'm screwed, man.
Nah, you got.
Like, it can't be too smooth.
You guys are not serious, bro.
I get bumps, bro.
I got it this morning. I'm not smooth.
I tried to hide it. I tried to hide it. Damascus, he's always the one that's doing the ball.
You're either like ball for real or either a fraud.
I'm joined by Damascus. Amazing commentary segment with your right-hand man, I must say, for that game. And none other than Vicious. Vicious, I keep on calling Ringe Vicious now. I don't know what you're just on my mind, bro. You're on my mind. I'm gonna try and fix this.
Did you actually call me Ringe? I don't think you did.
I promise. No, I called Ringe Vicious. I promise not to call you Ringe though. I'm gonna do better. I'm gonna do better for my West Coast homies. Listen, great matches took place. More great matches to come. I believe my homies here are doing the math. Implications on the line, whether it's to finish first or finish second. This particular one, Damascus, is not about qualification because I believe these two players have already qualified.
Both of the players have qualified. Big Bird undefeated. Knuckle Doo lost one game to Big Bird. Of course, there is only one clutch scenario here, which is if Knuckle Doo wins 2-0 over Big Bird, both of them end up with a +7 game differential, and this is a perfect time, right? So this is going to be a match potentially for seeding, but obviously can you 2-0 Big Bird because he's looking way too good this week.
Yeah, he's looking absolutely unstoppable. That's the kind of prediction we had going in over to Evo, but I feel like all of that tension that he had, the little bit of disappointment, he's carried it over it pretty well to the rest of his opponents. But overall, I mean, we're looking at the Marisa versus Guile matchup that could still go either way. I don't think it's that great for Marisa, but we talked about some of the areas where she can possibly counter.
So in the first leg, it felt like Knuckle Doo played the matchup amazing, but he lost.
He
could not have played any better.
That's exactly right.
So many anti-Marisa decisions and reactions and tech. Still lost. One mistake, baby. That's all it takes. And Big Bird knows that.
She will melt your life, especially with Big Bird's tech. Yeah, she will melt you.
And coming up after that, of course, we just saw him with his not so impressive theme recognition. Hopefully his Street Fighter skills are way better than his Street Fighter OST capabilities. Going up against Takamura, two very talented, raw skill-based players, aren't they, Vicious?
Yeah, so this one was a bit of a tougher draw between these two, right? One of the big implications was that Takamura needed to take down DCQ in order to stand a chance to even qualify, right? Unfortunately, he fell 0-2, and then Ending Walker, on the other hand, he needed that W to pretty much push himself forward. As it stands right now, it's looking pretty tough. It's pretty much winner takes all for these two individuals, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I don't think there's a scenario where Ending Walker can take it now that he lost to Oil. I do believe it's Takamura regardless.
He lost
if Takamura ends up not winning a single game, right?
Ending Walker losing 2-1, so Takamura is at +2, Ending Walker is -2. There is a clutch scenario of 0.
Yeah,
there is a tie scenario.
Ending Walker wins 2-0, and he takes this to a tiebreaker. Guys, we haven't seen a tiebreaker yet.
I want to see sudden death, bro. I want
Give
violence.
me a sudden death tiebreaker. For those of you who aren't aware, the rules are if you end up joint on games and joint on rounds, you're actually going to play in one more game to decide it all. I don't know if it's 2 out of 3 or
first to one round, 30 seconds. Yeah.
I would like. I just want the tiebreaker to happen. I want to see those rules implemented.
I would love to have this.
And then, unfortunately, Luffy having to play quite a lot today for someone who's no longer qualified. But Hot Dog still with it all to play for. That costly loss against 4 Fields. But he does have Daigo playing 4 Fields next. He can assume Daigo might do him a favor there. If he can beat Luffy, I believe he gets himself through. Correct, Damascus?
It's still a scenario, yes. Obviously, 4 Fields, you know, could make the absolute miracle of beating a Daigo that looks absolutely unbeatable this week. But at least Hot Dog still has a chance. All he has to do is to beat the one who did not have a win yet, but that was really close against Daigo. And let me tell you, Luffy is not going to want to live here without a single win.
Of course, a massive pride on the line, huge implications for him. And of course, he's about to switch characters. It'll be nice to switch characters with a final win with Manon before he ditches her. Another one to come up after that one, Vicious. Really, really juicy to come. Guys, talk me through this one. I believe it's NL in the next match. Yes, it is. Yes, and he's going up against the impressive tabletopper in VX Bao, who will probably revert back to JP. That's who we beat him with the last time. But it was a great game between these two when they last played, wasn't it?
Yeah, he's been doing absolute work. And just looking at the table itself, like looking at their group, VX Bao is doing phenomenal. He's got, what, 3-2 overall. NL is looking to kind of play spoiler, but it's not going to ultimately matter, I feel like. The real big thing is between Knuckle and Valmaster. So as it stands right now, VX Bao, he could be kind of big chilling, but it's up to NL to kind of get his, at least his self-esteem up and running, considering this matchup, right? So as it stands right now, VX Bao no longer really in danger.
Yeah, he's not. He's qualified, like, for sure. He might lose the first place because, yeah, the interesting match is going to be on the stream B as well with Kakeru versus Valmaster, because that match is pretty much whoever wins. Kakeru and Valmaster are like 3-2 and 0 game differential. So whoever wins this match moves forward.
I'm going to have a word with the studio about that. Put that match on stream A. Get it on stream A, baby.
Yes.
Get it on stream A, baby. We want to
channel.
see that. I mean, that's one hell of a match. I mean, that, amongst others, as this day continues to deliver absolutely heart-shocking results and upsets and elation for some players and heartache for others. There's so much more to come. I don't know what moment for you guys stood out in this segment so far, but I think it's quite easy to say for me, it had to be the clutch perfect parry from Angry Bird into the drive rush, into the level 3 to burn out, empty jump back. That's, oh, come on. That's
MOV almost had it. He actually missed the confirm into the low forward.
He had the crouch.
Listen, he had the crouch medium. He just needed drive rush. Drive rush from this crouch medium would have killed, man.
We're still talking about the set from last time. That's how good it was.
Dude, I'm going to be talking about that set for years, man. I don't think we're going to forget it, guys. But there's still more sets to come. Would you believe? I don't think we're even halfway yet, guys. More Street Fighter 6 action here at Gamers 8. More implications, more players to qualify in 4, 3, 2, 1. Say it with me, guys. Yalla Habibi!
I got one.
It is day 3 of Gamers 8 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and so far we have seen some of our favorite players sent away, officially eliminated. But on the flip side, on the bright side, we have also seen some of them qualify. Angry Bird, the most clutch man in this tournament so far, with that crazy nail-biting victory over MOV.
Well, that was one of the best matches we have ever seen here in the tournament yet. But we still, halfway through, we still have the grand finals. We still have the top 16 as well. We still have more matches, and we're still not done with the group stage here. أعزائي المشاهدين، شفنا رحلتنا شلون كانت في المجموعات. جالسين نقفلها مجموعة واحدة وراء الثانية. المتنافسين يطلعوا لنا في أداء خرافي ويحسبون لنا إياها، ومن اللي يكمل برضو باقي المشوار معنا في البلاي اوفز المراحل الجاية. شفنا مباراتنا قبل شوي. Angry Bird على آخر لحظة قدر يتفوق.
We can't highlight Angry Bird's extremely clutch performance without also bringing up my man's Kills You. Kills You actually went and had to beat, he started off 1-3. He ends up beating Angry Bird 2-0, which he had to do. And then he goes up against Vega Patch with his tournament life in his hands to be able to try to make it into the playoffs. And he beats Vega Patch 2-0 as well, guaranteeing himself a spot in the playoffs. The clutch plays have been ridiculous, and we are not done yet. Let's get into our next match as we have our first player ready. Let's see who it is. Knuckle Doo! Knuckle Doo Dang, Capcom Cup champion, won countless majors, and you know when it comes to this guy, that Guile is known as one of the best in the world, probably even the best right now. It's between him and Kaba, of course, just like it was back in the Street Fighter 5 days. Knuckle Doo at this point in the tournament has only lost 1 game and is already guaranteed to qualify for the top 16.
Yeah, and he's only lost, and he only lost against Big Bird. So if he made it, and if he win against Big Bird now, there is a comeback maybe, and he will change the score. So Big Bird is not going to be in a win streak. But let's welcome the next player here on the stage to see him and start the next match. أعزائي المشاهدين، بعد ما شفنا ناكل دو معنا هنا على المسرح ونشوفه حتى برضه مستواه الرهيب وهو جالس يؤدي مبارياته العظيمة. فعلا ما خسر أي مباراة إلا واحدة بس، وهي مباراته اللي كانت ضد بيج بيرد، لكن هذه مباراته اللي فيها رجوع مرة ثانية. خلينا نتعرف على اللاعب الثاني. أعطونا تحية لبيج بيرد. لاعبنا كبير حقق انتصارات الى الحين بدون اي هزيمه في المجموعه، عنده 5 انتصارات في حال فاز هذه المباراة راح يصير 6 انتصارات بدون أي هزيمة، وبيكمل معنا المراحل الجاية. هو ضامن التأهل، ضامن مرحلته الجاية، لكن يبغى يوصلها بشكل أقوى، يبغى يوصلها بدون أي هزيمة. فإذا قدر يفوز على خصم مرتين تعطيه ثقة مرة عالية، يكمل معنا في مراحل الجاية.
These have been two of the most dominant players in the tournament so far. Knuckle Doo being 4-1, and of course Big Bird being 5-0, one of the only players left that's completely undefeated. At this point, we could end up seeing maybe this is a grand finals preview. Would not be surprising. Knuckle Doo dang, Big Bird, you may take your seats. We are about to see some of the highest level of play of Street Fighter that is possible. Let's get into the action and send it over to our commentators.
أعزائي المشاهدين، عندنا اللاعبين جاهزين، فخلينا ننتقل على طول مع المعلقين. And let's go حبيبي.
Welcome. Yes, we are here with Knuckle Doo versus Big Bird. Both players already qualifying for the group stages, so consider this one a teaser trailer for the round of 16. I am Brad, bringing you the next block with my friend here, Logan. How are you doing?
I'm great, man. It's been a fantastic performance from both these players. Looking forward to this competition, one that we might see played back again. They're both qualified for the elimination stages, the 16-player bracket. So this one is only academic at this moment. I don't think it's even possible for Big Bird to be caught up on game differential to lose that first seed out of Group E. So this one's just going to be for our own entertainment. Two fantastic players going head-to-head.
Yeah, I recall they had a pretty good set yesterday as well, so we get to watch it once again. Hey, sometimes the stakes are just in watching some fantastic Street Fighter, two of the best players to ever do it. Super excited to be able to watch this one out. Is Knuckle Doo going to make the same character choice, or do we maybe see some exploration as to something a little bit different for this matchup?
Oh, I don't think there's any reason to make any character changes at all. Knuckle Doo had fantastic control of the match, and literally the only difference between winning and losing was the enormous burst damage that Marissa is able to put out when she gets the opportunities. I think the play that we saw Knuckle Doo display was an absolute masterclass in control, but it shows you how deadly Marissa can be in the right circumstances.
Oh!
Wow, okay. All right, I thought there was no reason, but Knuckle Doo obviously did think there was a reason, so this is going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, definitely intriguing. Maybe wants to be a little bit scrappier, a little bit molly. I know we've been talking to some of the Saudi players, talking about Marissa. The threat of having a powerful low is valuable. Maybe that's something that he's considering?
I mean, for me, this is really it's a fascinating choice, because I think, you know, if you ask Big Bird, he'll be very happy to play against a character whose entire win condition is being up close and personal and near you. That works greatly in Marissa's favor. So we'll find out whether Knuckle Doo can swarm or if Big Bird is going to say that you're trapped in here with me. And at the moment, it looks like Knuckle Doo is trapped in there with Big Bird. But he is in burnout now.
Yeah, and you can see that Knuckle Doo wants to get in. I think Cammy does such a great job of really keeping you locked down once you're burnt out, and here we see exactly why. Are we going to have the damage to be able to close this one out? Oh yeah, with another drive rush cancel. No, what an unfortunate drop, but the neutral jump catches the throw tech out of Big Bird. Knuckle Doo manages to salvage the round despite the drop.
Yeah, that worked out massively in Divi's favor in the end. A happy accident, not having to spend any of the super meter, but this is going to do a ton of damage. He's going to spend the level 3, no, just the level 2. That's enough to get the burnout. Still doing 60%.
All right, now locked down in the corner. So scary to be burnt out and on the defensive end
from the Gladius
against Marissa. She just does so much. Blocking against her is so scary. Oh my god, armoring through the counter poke. It's still my turn, but a nice low check. The threat of that low there coming important. Catching the backdash, jump in, nice catch on the empty parry. Okay. Has the level 3 in the back. Yes, we're absolutely going to be able to close this one out. Knuckle Doo making quick work to finish out this first game final round. And yeah, so far this character switch looks like it's working. I think the differential in that second round was getting put on the back foot, being put in burnout. That's obviously super scary against a character like Marissa.
Yeah, man, it's just about smothering, and he is doing a great job of smothering Big Bird as they go straight back into the rematch. One of the things you always see,
my god,
the speed of the rematches in Street Fighter 6 really catching people off guard. Blink and you'll miss.
Knuckle Doo manages to steal the corner. No reaction to the naked DI here. Now Knuckle Doo gets to be in the driver's seat. Nice cross-cut DP, catching the jump out. Empty jump back throw, does get teched. Oh, what a great dive kick.
Oh, nice use of the OD. Gladius, the armor there, getting the kill.
That's, I think, the second time we've seen that interaction now, too, and it's really seeming like the threat of dive kick is a little bit weaker. Knuckle Doo almost feels like he's forced to use it as a throw bait option.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As I said, every time you get into Marisa and you're at minus frames, definitely a bad time for you. But as long as Knuckle Doo can keep these interactions and exchanges in his favor, which he's gonna do here, close it out without having to spend any of that super gauge and a perfect, puts him at set point.
It's a great spot, too, not having to spend any of that bar. This could really be anyone's game. Problem is, it's anyone's game and Marisa is sitting with 3 bars.
Low. As you said, one of the weaknesses of Marisa is against low attacks.
Oh, what a pickup. Empty jump. Back throw, wants that corner position.
It really is, a fantastic statement on Knuckle Doo's behalf, how he's able to completely switch up character archetypes and playstyles. A fantastic reaction, super there. The level 3 is not going to burn out, but it's going to do a big chunk, a nice life lead, but we know that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, well, the fact that Big Bird has so little drive gauge here actually makes a monumental difference. Now, both of them in burnout, I feel like as much as Marisa can do a bunch of damage.
She generally needs, and there we go. I was going to say, she generally needs drive gauge to get access to that huge 60, 70, 80% damage that we do see her output. And that time, Knuckle Doo closing out the win, but as we said before the set, doesn't really affect any of the final positions in this Group E, and Big Bird will still go out at the top, tied with 5-1 record, but he has got a far superior game differential, and that will see him go out as first seed. But Knuckle Doo, encouraging performance for him.
Yep, and let's take a look at those highlights.
Knuckle Doo dang. Earlier, actually in day 1 of Gamers8, Knuckle Doo and Big Bird did play on Stream B. And Knuckle Doo played phenomenally, but Big Bird proved to be too much with that Marisa. And at that time, I'm pretty sure it was actually Guile versus Marisa. Here, Doo brings out the Cammy and gets a clean sweep of Big Bird. So it is an interesting thing to see because we know that both of those players are in the playoffs. That match is definitely going to be no sweat off of Big Bird's back because he is still qualified as the first seed in that group.
Well, switching characters also was very interesting from Knuckle Doo, but for Big Bird, he's still in the first place in the group. أعزائي المشاهدين بعد ما شفنا مباراتنا قبل شوي ناكل دو قدر يكسر الستريك اللي خاص فيه بيج بيرد بعد ما فاز عليه وصار بس ما زالوا متأهلين كلهم معنا ناكل دو معنا بيج بيرد كلهم متأهلين معنا المرحلة الجاية. الفرق ان هي بس خلينا نقول ترتيبهم بس فقط، لكن لا غير من هذا كله. بيج بيرد ما زال في المركز الاول وناكل دو في المركز الثاني من المجموعة، لكن عندنا المجموعة الثانية وضعها شوي حامي أكثر، وضعها مختلف.
It seems like this is a common trend. We end up having occasionally these matches where the seeding doesn't change or they're not fighting to get in, they're already qualified. And then we get straight to a match where the players are fighting for their life like formerly legendary R&B singers in late night TV interviews. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our next match. We are about to see who our first player is. Takamura! Takamura, the wizard, the absolute innovator when it comes to the world of Street Fighter. This guy builds his own strategies completely from scratch, and it actually does things that we have not seen previously when it comes to other professional players. He is one of the most unique players that we've seen up to this point, and he is currently sitting at 3-2. If he wins this next match, he will be qualified officially to make it in to the top 16 as far as that playoffs, but it is not guaranteed.
Exactly. He played at the start against DCQ and his match was really tough. لكن أعزائي المشاهدين بعد ما رجع معنا تاكامورا الحين في منافساته الحالية راح نشوف هل بيقدر يكمل باقي المشوار معنا، لأن فوزه في هذه المباراة هو اللي راح يحدد أنه يقدر يكمل ولا لا. خسارته ممكن شوي تلخبط في الجدول وتلخبط حتى في الترتيب، وممكن تعطي فرصة لخصمه لأنه راح يتعادلون بالنقاط، بعدين نرجع مرة ثانية نحن نحسب كل شيء من جديد ويصدع راسنا، وحنا من الأخير اللي نبغى نشوفه اللاعبين كلهم لازم يحتاجون الفوز، وهذا هم اللي جايين عشانه. خلونا نرحب باللاعب الثاني. Ending Walker. لاعب صغير وفي نفس الوقت موهوب كبير موجود معنا في منافساتنا الحالية، ما زال عندها الفرصة للتأهل ولو انها شوي ضعيفة بحكم خسارتها اللي كانت ضد اويل كينج. هل بيقدر يرجع مرة ثانية فيها ولا لا؟ راح تحسب كلها وراح تحدد بمجموعة النقاط، لكن فوزه بنتيجة 2-0 بدون اي خسارة اي جولة ممكن تعطيها الفرصة. انا ما ادري بصراحة، يبغانا حسبة هذه عليها ونتركها حتى برضو مع المحللين يتكلمون فيها اكثر، حتى برضو المعلقين. This match, if Ending Walker wins, it's going to be 3-3, and it's going to be tough to decide.
Yes, right now, Ending Walker, as you said, Atik, is sitting at 2-3, and whereas Takamura is sitting at 3-2. If he wins, as you said, it is going to be a tie, and at that point, you bust out the calculators. Ending Walker, the young prodigy with the locks of gold, going up against the wizard, the prodigy himself in his own right, the innovator, Takamura. Your fate is in your hands. You may be seated and get ready for your match. We have an amazing match coming at you right now, and let's get into the action. Send it over to our commentators.
أعزائنا المشاهدين، بعد ما شفناهم الحين ورحبنا فيهم على المسرح، خلونا نبدأ بمباراتنا هذه وننتقل لكم مع معلقينا.
A fascinating situation here. Takamura, of course, has had far more positive results when it comes to his victory. So seeing this go to a tiebreaker, if Ending Walker manages to get a 2-0 win, it's still very probable. We haven't got the exact maths here, but very probable that Takamura would still go through. But Takamura's able to avoid all of that confusion by putting at least one game on the board here.
Yeah, and I think that puts you in a really interesting spot if your eyes are on the prize, which I think they should be, at least in some respect, right? If you come into this set knowing that all you got to do is get one game on the board, once you get that one game, maybe you can decompress a little bit. But both of these players, true competitors, I definitely expect that they're playing for the dub, even if there's paths forward that don't require a win in the set.
Takamura definitely been enjoyable to watch with that Ken back on, the character that really impressed us so much as he broke into Street Fighter 5 as a young teenage competitor out of Belgium, a country that we really hadn't seen a lot of for a while in terms of Street Fighter. A few dangerous players over the time, but a new generation came through with Takamura, of course, under the tutelage of his elder brother, no longer with us. So important in the Belgian community, and Takamura has been traveling ever since with some breakout results in Street Fighter 5 in both majors and invitationals, and here he is looking to make it out alongside DCQ, who of course has finished on top of this Group G. He's going to be going up against another player who really made a name for themselves towards the tail end of Street Fighter 5 in Ending Walker. Perhaps still looking for the effective style that can see him the success that he earned during the last year of Street Fighter 5, Brad.
Yeah, I think we've had a lot of conversations about that, about the character choice, about the stylistic difference. Ending Walker talked about how much he really liked to think and feel rewarded for making smart decisions in his play, and it feels that Ryu gives that to him right now, but we're going to have to see how that is going as they are playing a really brutal mid-range game right now, just swinging on each other with those low forwards, a Shoto matchup if you've ever seen one.
It's really interesting to see Takamura ending the Jinrai kicks in the low rather than going for the forward roundhouse ender to get the knockdown and the corner carry here. Looking for the standing plus frames to follow up. There we go, in burnout. Both of these players spending all their drive gauge in quick succession, but Ending Walker has managed to avoid burnout, which means he's got some pressure left. Is he going to get the extension? He is, and he will be able to close out this first round.
I think that's another great example. I know that the commentators in the previous block were talking about it, the fact that at the highest level, you have to treat the drive gauge like a secondary health bar. In some cases, perhaps a primary one. And you know when you're watching Ending Walker play that he is making decisions to specifically attack your drive gauge. And now you talked about burning yourselves out. Takamura on the back foot with just a sliver left, can't afford to block that fireball, so instead they eat it. That little bit of parrying gets them that bit left, but drive impact working out for Ending Walker, and now has Takamura burned out in the corner once again. Trying to keep this lockdown. That's going to be a stun, and that's going to be the first game here for Ending Walker. 2-0. You can see him bouncing in his seat a little bit, and those player cams feeling a little bit good about themselves right now. Definitely a strong performance to start this set out.
Absolutely. Both of these characters are based around, throwing you so many looks that it's very difficult to react to all of it. We've seen so many players in Street Fighter 6 already getting caught by these drive impacts in the corner. Ending Walker's style is still very similar to the one that he showed towards the end of Street Fighter 5. It's all forward movement. It's always on the offense. It's never playing like a counter-attacking sit-back zoning style. He's not playing, traditional 2D Street Fighter with Ryu, no fireball DP game. It's all forward. The foot's on the gas pedal. There's no brakes. Let's see if he can close out this and get the 2-0 win.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about the style, and what you can see is the way that, on block, he'll commit into donkey kick on block in a lot of spots where it's about generating that chip damage on the drive gauge and keeping you on the back foot, and it makes it really scary because if he does get that hit, those punish counters start to matter a whole lot more when your drive gauge has been bleeding. Takamura firmly in the driver's seat in terms of screen positioning here and the life lead, but despite all of that, still is burned out. Ending Walker starting to make their way forward, and now once again using that donkey kick to try to bulldoze through the mid-range a little bit.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see him use that drive impact mid-screen as well. But Takamura out of burnout. Punish could have got more than that, but see if Takamura, wow, blows straight through the fireball string. The overhead connects, and he's going to be able to close this out.
No. Fishing with the sweep, not really going to work out. Back to a fireball game, the level 1. We're going to recover in time, and Takamura has the drive gauge to be able to DR forward and get the round for himself to close that one out. That was almost an incredible comeback from Ending Walker, but great presence of mind from Takamura to not be too frightened of the neutral threat.
Wow, Ending Walker throwing away Gage there, trying to bait something out from Takamura. He didn't bite.
Oh, nice shimmy working out there from
knockdown corner carry as well. Puts him there. Plus frames not respected.
Trying to slowly work his way out with the spiral game. No shot!
Yeah, that was interesting. Ending Walker didn't actually get hit by the full animation, but that win from Takamura is enough to guarantee him qualification. So he will be going through, even though he might not win this set. The one-game win definitely sees him advancing into the top 16, and Ending Walker will now be saying goodbye to us, but we'll still close out this set. They'll be playing for honor.
I mean, I'll keep it a buck, right? If I'm in Ending Walker's seat, I want to get that dub and make sure Takamura knows that they're through on the bureaucracy. You got to make them hold that, but we're going to have to see how that's going to go, because right now, Ending Walker still on the back foot, but
check on a drive rush.
Drive gauge is perpetually orange here for Takamura. It's almost as though he starts the round with half a gauge.
Nice bait. Ending Walker going to spend it all. Cashing out that drive gauge. It gets refunded every round, so...
Right. Keeping it slow at this round start once again. Moving in behind that fireball. Nice whiff punish.
Just takes the hard knockdown. Wow, interruption with the medium punch. Shades of Season 1 Street Fighter 5 Ken there.
Takamura taking a moment to get his bearings established.
Oh my word, counter hits all over the place.
Yeah, geez, Ending Walker's doing something besides blocking. He's blocking with his face.
Leaving a lot of damage on the table here with these counter hits, not getting converted from. Ending Walker looking to make a comeback.
He has so much drive gauge. This is actually kind of close, but commits too hard to the DR in that spot. The Jinrai kicks coming out after, and we are going to the final game, final round.
Yeah, Ending Walker super active. Getting punished for it that round.
Nice.
Takamura looking to bait the DP out, but the angle wasn't quite right with the EX Tatsu, and he does get clipped. Now he's in the corner, big life lead, blocks the overhead, and there's the trade.
Oh my God, we are fishing right now.
Nice. That's level 3, and that's going to be the burnout.
Yeah, and also critically important, it's going to bring Takamura away from the threat of burnout a little bit. Life a little bit in Ending Walker's favor, but that's not going to stay that way for particularly long. My man is really hungry to get that confirm into level 3.
Oh my God! Way! He saw Takamura press the button on block. Went for the same string again. The classic. Jeez, as he walks over his hands in his pockets.
Go all the way over.
Hands with Takamura. Takamura will be advancing, but let's take a look at some of the key moments from that set.
Takamura shutting the door on ending Walker and taking his fate into his own hands. Just like that, Takamura has qualified for the finals. He has punched his ticket in the top 16. Ending Walker, though, I want to make sure we give the most love and respect to that kid. Only 17 years old. We've already seen him qualify for Cup, and then he just put in all kind of work here at this tournament, too. He will be back and better than ever. But we have more phenomenal matches moving forward, I think.
Exactly, and also Andy Walker, he's young and he still have chances to come later in the next years, and I'm really sure that he can make it. And by the way, I love your shoes. Yeah,
these old days.
It's a really sick
something like I ain't trying to do too much to him. You know what I'm saying? Now my ego is all through the roof thanks to Atik, but it is nowhere near close to what it is going to be with our next player if they are able to go ahead and take home this W. Let's see our next match. Let's bring in our first player. Cause he hot dog in the spot, dog. Get the walk. Ah, you feel me? And Teak had to turn up for my mans. The crowd is making all kind of noise for him. You can hear the hot dog chants, and it's with good reason. Mans like hot dog, definitely a fan favorite. Was back in 5, and he still is in 6. Always a treat to see my mans play, and I think that he has a great chance to put in some work right now.
Exactly, he's a great player, and since he moved to Street Fighter, he's been dominating there. أعزائي المشاهدين، بعد ما رحبنا به هات دوغ تاريخه عريق يتكلم عن نفسه من جد في إنجازاته العالمية اللي حققها في لعبة ستريت فايتر، وقبلها حتى كان في ألعاب ثانية، ومنحول على هذه اللعبة بإنجازات عظيمة. ممكن أن وضعه الحين في المجموعة ما هو الأفضل، لكن راح ننبسط بإذن الله في آخر مباراة له على المسرح هنا معنا، وفي نفس الوقت خصمه في نفس الموقف. خلينا نتعرف عليه ونرحب فيه معنا هنا. رحبوا معنا في لوفي. لاعب كبير كلكم تحبونه وتعرفونه، ودائما يمتعنا في مبارياته. صحيح انه ممكن الوضع اللي جالس يصير الحين في مباراه ما هي الصالحه، وما هو وضعه برضه في المجموعه ما هو الافضل، وحتى فرصه تاهله صارت مستحيله، لكن دائما موجود برضه معنا. راح نستمتع في اخر مباراه له برضه على المسرح لكل اللاعبين كلهم متواجدين معنا في اخر مره، فباذن الله راح نشوف مباراه جدا ممتعه وداعيه لهم الاثنين، فاكيد راح يمتعونا فيها وراح يأدون اداء جدا ممتاز. This is the last match for both of them in the main stage.
And I'll tell you what, it has been a treat seeing them compete up to this point, and we are still at the beginning of Street Fighter 6, so I know that their careers in this game are about to be phenomenal, just like it has been in the past. Let's get into this match and send it over to the commentators.
أعزائي المشاهدين، خلينا نبدأ هذه المباراة وننتقل لكم على طول مع معلقينا.
An illustrious career for these players, yes indeed, though this week may be the death knells for Luffy's Manon. Coming into this match right now, 0-5 in the group, absolutely
he's already said that he's moving over to JB.
Oh,
He's
certainly.
putting that out there into the world, so.
And I mean, for Hot Dog, coming into this, it could have had a shot for them to get through this group stage. However, updates from the B stream are that the 4 Fills was actually able to take the run back against Daigo 2-0, securing the 4 Fills the second place spot in the group.
Daigo as yet undefeated until then, so that's a massive result for the 4 Fills, and he'll be moving on into that final 16, which means both of these players are eliminated, but they'll be wanting to put on a good show as historic competitors. Luffy, Evo titles. Hot Dog actually was the North American Regional Finals champion, I think, in 2019. He took that title as well. One of the innovators of Bison alongside Problem X in Street Fighter 5 here on the DJ. We're not going to be seeing his DJ in top 16, but we will definitely be seeing more of him throughout the life of Street Fighter 6.
Now here's a question for you, because Luffy had been playing not just the Manon. We'd seen him bring out the Chun a couple of times as well. Do you expect that the JP is going to replace both of those characters, or do you expect he'll keep the Chun around? Oh, that's a little surprising.
A grind farewell. Rush behind the pressure. Hot Dog backing off, utilizing that air slasher to control the horizontal space.
Oof. Real shame.
And that's generally what DJ's projectile game is all about. Just using the slasher to just try and pull out your tendencies and some of your beats, your tempo, and then you can choose to follow that up with different options, with the feints, with the EX slash and the drive rush behind it, with the raw drive rush as well, just to catch you off guard. He's certainly not a zoning character, is he, DJ?
No, I think he's, and I think this is true of some of the projectile characters in this game. Your zoning is meant to complement the other elements of your kit, and I feel like in this matchup, the range where DJ can sort of come alive and dance in and out is the exact pocket where I feel like Manon is ill-equipped to deal with it. Nice anti-air there, keeping this corner control. Level 1 is going to get Luffy out of the corner.
Speaking of coming alive, it's looking like this is going to be the death knell of Manon for most of the players that have been trying her out for the first couple of months of this game. Very difficult to make grapplers work, especially when you're so tied into having to go for the command grabs as Manon and Zangief. We don't have any Giefs here at all, do we?
Yeah, I think I got to talk about character strength a bit in some of the media day stuff, and I think everybody's opinion was that Gief was probably the weakest character in the game. I think the metal system and the way they gave her the hit grab was an interesting attempt to decentralize Manon off of just the command grab, but it has obviously not panned out. Sitting on the back foot in terms of their drive gauge right now is Luffy. A nice anti-air, but we don't get the follow-up. Range 0. We're at level 4. Okay, you're dead, yeah? Absolutely.
And that's the thing, at a certain level, that level 4, level 5 medal command grab can certainly make the character look very frustrating, but at the highest competitive level, she's got a lot of shortcomings. Her pressure game is not fantastic, her ability to navigate the neutral also not great. And being just tied in, that metal system obviously only causing any significant damage boost to the command grabs itself. The option to stop you trying to jump out of those command grabs not being the best in terms of any kind of damage increase as well. So it really ties her into having to go for that command grab. Whenever you think of other combination grapplers in previous times, you look at Laura in Street Fighter 5, you look at Abel in Street Fighter 4, who of course so closely tied to Manon as another French judoka character. Neither of them were kind of forced to command grab you. The command grab was there as a threat to kind of punish you for sitting down. She still did huge damage just for hits as well.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and I think that lack of external threat to dissuade you from the defensive choices is at least a part of what has made Manon a little bit weaker. Late on the whiff punish there with the whiff standing fierce and just eating these low forwards, the very tip of the drive impact there working out for Luffy, and now having Hot Dog back in the corner as well on set point.
Nice parry.
Hot Dog takes the lead.
Manon's also got a lot of two-hit moves that are very susceptible to being drive impacted as well. It's very difficult to bait drive impact after her knockdowns if she wants to use drive rush follow-ups as well. So there's a lot of shortcomings in this character, but of course, 2 grabs can get the job done if you got those medals up at any point. So
yeah, it just seems like there's such a small window of her kit where she works, and outside of that, the system isn't necessarily in her favor. But what is in her favor is the life lead, the corner position happening right now. We've got the level 3 on deck. Can cash out the level 2, however, after that combo.
Looking to close this out, Luffy, and he does do that. A 2-0 victory, and he manages to put his first win of the series in his last game. He will not be going 0-6.
But that is the swan song, presumably, for the Manon. But there is definitely a little bit to be savored in the fact that you did manage to avoid going 0-6 here. Let's take a look at some of those match highlights for Luffy's final match of the tournament series.
Au revoir, Manon.
Congratulations to Luffy for getting the victory in his last match of the event, going up against Hot Dog, and kudos to both of those players for the showings that they put on here. That being said, we only have one match left in these group stages of Teak. We are about to be getting into playoffs action after this one. We do have our next players ready though, Teak.
Exactly. This is the last match of the group stage, and all the groups now is decided. Now we only have one last match. This one can change the group a little bit, and might affect who's going to make it to the playoffs or not. أعزائي المشاهدين، بعد ما خلصنا مباراتنا اللي قبل شوي، لوفي قدر انه يفوز في مباراته الاولى اللي هي كانت في الاخير بالاصح، وفعلا شفناه قدر انه يؤدي اداء جدا ممتاز. والحين احنا في مرحلتنا قربنا نخلص مرحله الجروب ستيج او مرحله المجموعات في اللعيبه اللي المرحله الحاليه، وباقي لنا مباراه واحده بس، وبعدها ننتقل على طول الى مرحله البلاي اوفز ومرحله التوب 16 اللي راح نشوف فيها ابطال العالم لهذه اللعبة.
And now our next player is ready to come and join the arena. Let's take a look at our first competitor. NL, I have always looked at him as the Terminator ever since I saw what he did at the Intel World Open just a couple of years ago, playing against the best players throughout Asia and just walking them all down with that Kami, the low forward confirms, the anti-airs, you name it. And now he is bringing that same style, that same energy into Street Fighter 6. No easy task for any opponent.
Exactly. This guy, he's known and he's really good. And he have been performing really well, even though it's in the group stage it's really difficult right now for him to get qualified. أعزائي المشاهدين، NL بعد ما شفناه ورحبنا برضو معنا على المسرح، مستواه جدا كان شوي متذبذب، ولو انه كان قدر يفوز في مباراة واحدة، ووضع الحين شوي صعب مرة للتأهل، لكن الوضع تماما مختلف بالنسبة للخصمة، لأن خسارته في هذه المباراة بتحطه في التعادل. خلونا نتعرف عليه ونرحب معنا هنا. رحبوا معنا في VX باو. لاعب كبير، وحتى برضو انتصاراته اللي جالس يحققها الحين تقريبا ضمانت له التأهل، لكن يحتاج الفوز هذا عشان يضمنه بشكل اسهل، لان خسارته راح تحطه في التعادل في المجموعه مع باقي الفرق، مع باقي اللعيبه. هو من جد متميز في المنافسه هنا برضو معنا، وادى اداء جدا ممتاز. تفصل المباراه واحده بس عشان يقدر يضمن تأهله ويريح نفسه باقي المشوار، وهذه اخر مباراه لنا في المجموعات، ان اللي بعده راح يكون معنا شيء حامي.
Right now, VX Bao is sitting at 3-2 in this group. Of course, this is his last match, and Baomaster is 3-3. So if he wins right here, it's a guarantee that he punches a ticket in to the top 16. But I do believe even if he loses in the worst case scenario, he may have the game differential or the round differential still, but that comes down to math, and that was not Big Hollywood's favorite subject in school. So with that being the case, let's let the players decide exactly what happens. VX Bao, NL, you may take your seats to get into this match, and we're gonna send it over to our commentators.
Well, we don't know actually if he's gonna make it or not, but the only thing that we know that he needs to win.
Yes.
Yeah, that's for sure. He needs to win, and also for NL, he wants to win because it's his last match here. أعزائي المشاهدين، بعد ما رحبنا بالفريقين وبعد ما رحبنا باللاعبين معنا على المسرح، خلونا نبدأ مباراتنا على طول ونروح لكم مع آخر مباراة معنا من الجروب ستيج، وننتقل لكم مع المعلقين.
Well, Rob, I've got some good news for you. You're not going to have to get your abacus out because VX Bao is guaranteed to qualify regardless of whether he wins or loses. His current game differential is +3, and because Baomaster finished at 3-3 and his game differential is -1, there's not going to be a big enough swing to see VX Bao not make it through. Now, the big question, though, is if VX Bao does win this set against NL, he will get #1 seed in Group F. So there is still something to play for in this match. VXBao is going to want to get that preferential seeding in the top 16. He is going to be wanting to make sure that he closes this out. NL definitely isn't going to want to end with a 1-5 record. Certainly hasn't performed in the way that he is accustomed to here at Gamers8, and he'll want to change that. So hopefully he will be able to put in a performance here as well. But as I said, there is no way that VXBao does not qualify to top 16. The only question to be asked is whether it is in the number 1 or number 2 seed.
And I think we can take a moment to highlight VXBao's path to this point, bringing out the Ken, exactly what I was going to say. If VXBao manages to snipe the first position spot away from Knuckle Doo, Knuckle Doo's 2 losses are to VXBao, bringing out the Ken instead of the JP. So for that to be the 2 losses of Knuckle Doo, and then to be able to pull out with the number 1 spot on the game differential would be a fantastic showing here. However, NL drawing first blood with this nice whiff punish and pushing VXBao closer to the corner now.
Yeah, very interesting that he's pulled out the Ken here in this matchup. I understand not wanting to play the mirror nice against the walk under and then the punish counter to maintain corner control where Ken is so strong, and that's why huge damage and fantastic looping offense off that corner pressure as he goes for the meaty stand fierce again. Mixes him up a little bit with the Jin Rise, blows through, and the thing is there, once you do the target combo and commit, you have to end it in the Sandblast and not make it hugely negative. That ODDP is guaranteed regardless of what happens.
Nice check on the forward DR there by NL, but I think this has been a pattern of some of the players we've seen. They burn through that drive gauge so quick. You got to spend money to make money, certainly, but now VXBao has managed to get the screen position swap and has NL back up against the corner, exactly like we had seen in that previous round, and it is throw loop city, baby.
Catches NL asleep and picks him up with the triple OD. Jinrai kicks into the level 3 to close it out. Clip that one. That's the job done for VXBao. Looking to get that number 1 seed here in our last set of the group stages. It's been 3 days of epic competition. Some of the very strongest players in the world battling it out. And after this, we will know exactly who will be advancing into that 16-player double elimination bracket that will be starting ever so shortly. Right about now, VXBao making short work of NL here in the corner. A huge life lead, Brad.
Yeah, certainly, and this pressure's looking really bad. NL is just being smothered right now. One more touch could do it, depending on the pickup, as long as it's not just a random errant poke. A critical back throw here for NL, but with so little resources, that little bit of slowdown is good for the drive gauge, but now we've pushed back to mid-screen. Nice parry.
Ooh. Beautiful, perfect parry, and he's gonna miss the...
Ooh. Nah, that was an American reset if I ever seen one.
To the level 2. Scaling will kick in, but he should be able to get the kill. Yes, he does. NL fighting back. Beautiful mid-screen perfect parry in reaction to the drive rush low forward.
Yeah, the scaling on that can be a little bit difficult, but when you're in that spot, you know, there's minimum scaling on the supers, you can still cash out some big damage. I mean, we saw the clip of Big Bird getting that big damage yesterday off the perfect parry as well. Back up against the corner once again. It's like they live there, right?
Yeah, both of these characters are so adept at causing huge damage out of this corner situation. Ken, of course, able to side switch as well, put you there wherever he wants. Back throw here from NL. Backs off a little bit.
Right.
VXBao certainly not going to be as telegraphed on his drive rushes here. Tries to stop short.
I think, yeah, I was going to say, if we played for Burnout and then did level 2, maybe we could have gotten the kill there, but NL wasn't feeling super confident on the map. VXBao going to cash out the level 3 here to be able to secure this round, and while that's critical for VXBao, I think I usually operate under the belief that if I'm going into a round 3 and I have that meter advantage because they've had to cash out the level 3, that's not an awful spot to be in. You can come out to such a massive lead as a result of that.
I mean, it would have been so easy for him to lose that round and lose the game if he hadn't cashed it out. So you certainly would rather be going into a final round with no bar
than
having to go into a final game. Oh my God, there's the side switch. Into the level 3, nice and early. It's not going to put him in burnout, but it's going to certainly leave him on the brink.
Yeah, and I expect that NL's going to try to play this now for some chip damage, but instead VXBow wakes up with parry, getting a little bit of that drive gauge back, crucially staving it off, but the drive rush cancels there off the poke, get us a 1-1 situation, NL staying alive for at least one more game.
Yeah, the wake-up parry kept VXBow from getting burnt out, but he died with that drive gauge, got hit in every single exchange. See if he can close this out here and pick up the win as we go into our final game. Already in the corner, blows through, no mix-up there. OD rising uppercut.
Ooh. Catching the startup of that sandblast there. Oh wow, the crouching medium punch actually works as an anti-air off of that cross-up situation. Nice backdash from VXBow, but NL still doing a great job of controlling this corner position here. What a turnaround.
As we said, both of these characters do so much damage. In the corner, baits out the throw whiff, and NL at set point now. VXBow looking at finishing off in the second seed spot.
Still has the chance to take that first seed spot away from Knuckle Doo. We just need 2 more rounds. That's all it's going to take. But if you are whiffing low forward like that and NL's whip punishment is on point how it is, it's not going to work. Nice DP anti-air. Corner control now for VXBow.
Nice interruption. Dashes him back into the corner.
I think in general, NL has been doing a really good job of interrupting in some of these sequences and just generally catching VXBow just a hair out of position.
Yeah, punished the throw attempt there, didn't he?
Oh, even that,
oh
oh
my
my
gosh.
God. Fishing with the low,
Big
strong
damage as well, and he's gonna close it out with the level 3. We might be going to Memphis, but VXBow is going to be still progressing into the top 16. NL managing to retrieve a modicum of honor, finishing up 2 and 4.
Yeah, and you had called out earlier on that the concern of NL having their drive rushes sniped. By the end of that there, you started to see that NL had actually honed in on VXBow's forward movement. So many of these crouching strongs catching early buttons out of drive rush or catching VXBow trying to be the aggressor, not appreciating NL's control of the space in front of him. Let's take a look at those highlights.
Oh my goodness, there you have it. A sudden turn of events. VXBow, I mean, he's looked like the MVP in this group throughout, but suddenly a revitalized, inspired NL turns up and just throws a monkey wrench in his whole party, sending him down to second place. Knuckle Doo now, after a pretty shaky group run, got back to form. Clutch win against Valmaster earlier, finishes top of this group as well. I mean, you can't call it on day 3 here at Gamers 8. I'm joined again by Damascus and Vicious. Guys, talk me through some of this amazing action we've been seeing.
I think there is a very simple thing to say for the end of these groups. It's all of the people who have been eliminated being like, I am not leaving without a bang. I am leaving, I'm taking someone with me. And yeah, All King, VXBow, everyone's like, you know what, I might be leaving, but not without you.
It was the glorified money match, if you will, throughout the entirety of this block specifically, right? Just looking at how things have played out. But there was a little bit of importance in regards to who were in the top 2 for some of these blocks in regards to the seeding, right? We talked about that a little bit earlier on. NL being able to stop VXBow from getting that preferred seeding against the other members of this group. But in all honesty, I feel like it doesn't matter as much because everybody here is a killer still, right?
Yeah, I don't see that big of a difference in first and second to be absolutely gunning for first place. All of the second places, who are the second places? Like all of the second places I can see.
Yeah,
is that one easy second place?
Arguably an MVP candidate, second place.
Yeah.
I mean,
there is no easy second place.
There's no easy match, yeah. And actually, guys, those of you joining us late, we will actually be playing a portion of the playoff stages later today as well. This is not just group stages. We're going to go through to the group stages, and we're going to start the playoff stages today. So a good couple hours as we close out here, leading all the way to that top 8. So you don't have to wait till tomorrow to see how some of these things plan out. And unfortunately, that means a number of the players we've seen already eliminated, those aren't the last ones we're going to be saying bye to.
Yeah. I mean,
say goodbye, man.
It's part of the game. I want to say.
This is how it goes.
I think a lot happened and stuff, but I think one of the most interesting performances on this one happened on the B stream with the 4 fields being 2-0 over Daigo.
Oh yeah.
And the 2-0 was clean, no round.
This is a Daigo that battered him, I must say.
Yeah.
Earlier in the tournament, making that massive turnaround. We'll get to that in a second. Let's take a look at how the group standings are now with that victory from NL. VXBow, despite his emphatic performances over Knuckle Doo, beating him twice, finishes below Knuckle Doo on game differentiation. Knuckle Doo with a 4-2 game differentiation, finishes first place. VXBow in second. Valmaster, despite a valiant effort, really tried hard and came so close to beating the best JP in the world, in many people's opinion, in Kakarot. One apiece, all the way to the wire, but Kakarot just too strong. Takes it in the end. Valmaster bows out of that tournament, guys. But a massive shout out to him, right, Vicious?
No doubt, yeah. Valmaster has been playing and slowly starting to adapt to each and every one of the adversities he's had throughout the entirety of the group stage. But overall, it could have been either way. Like, Kakarot just happened to be the better player that showed up today. And as cliche as that sounds, that's just how it goes, man. Sometimes you have the clutch factor. We saw that throughout some of the matches earlier today, specifically Knuckle Doo versus Big Bird. That was actually
man, are you
clutch.
sidekick? Because if we're talking about, you know, relevance right now, that's the next one I want to take a look at. Reminder, guys, this is the STC Play highlight segment of the show, and we're now going to look at Knuckle Doo putting a massive dent in that perfect record of Big Bird, and then finishing above him as well. No, I don't think so. I think Big Bird still finishes first because of the game differentiation or round differentiation. But Knuckle Doo making a statement, guys.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Knuckle Doo took advantage very much so of the movement that she possesses, right? Being able to be in spots and pick apart the big whiff punishes that Big Bird left on the table. But more importantly, I think his decision of using some of the OD gate to blast through some of the armor was really, really well played from Knuckle Doo.
I was talking to some of the guys at the back, some of the local guys here who play regularly with Big Bird, and as soon as Knuckle Doo went Cammy, they were all like, oh, no, brother, this is bad match. No. Marissa destroys Cammy. I was like,
that's what Knuckle Doo said as well. He's like, I'm just nice today. I got to talk to him in the cafeteria. Like, on Twitter, he's like, Marissa actually beats me up pretty bad, but I was just playing nice today.
Yeah, he played nuts. I mean, the spacing of the dive kick to hit low and beat the Gladius, and then the crouch medium kick's always an option as well. He did a lot of matchup-specific stuff. Got to wonder what Marissa is training with Damascus to play like that.
Yeah, that's a big question, right? And honestly, we mentioned it, right? He played the matchup ridiculous with Guile, and I was really surprised him not picking Guile, considering how well he played the matchup in
That's
the first
point.
leg.
He played so well, and he lost.
And somehow he plays even better with his secondary character. Who does he lab against? Like, how long has he labbed the matchup, or is he simply nice?
It was just him in his chair, man. That's just how it goes. It's him in his chair.
He is a special individual.
Just the chair.
Sometimes the chair.
Just the chair.
Shout out to the chair, guys.
Shout out to the chair.
I'm here to be sub the chair. I don't think you guys know that.
The chair is watching high-level play right now. Right as we speak.
Speaking of clutch, guys, we saw an unfortunate result from Oil King, taking out Takamura when it meant nothing to him, bringing out that debut Rashid, and that put Ending Walker in a position where he needed to win 4 rounds straight, I believe, 2 games against Takamura. It started well, but Takamura had other plans, and he was able to exact that victory on him in the end.
Funny thing about that, I thought the same, but it came down to the round differences for Takamura and Ending Walker. If I'm not mistaken, no matter how hard Ending Walker played, I feel like even if he completely shut out Takamura, Takamura still would have had a 1-round advantage over the young man to qualify.
Yeah, there's a huge difference, right?
But it was close, to say the least. But regardless, as soon as he lost the round, it was definitely over, whether it was over beforehand or not. And I think Takamura very much knew that.
And look at his Oil King, the only 2 wins he got was Rashid. I told him, why didn't we pick Rashid? He told me, I have never played Rashid in tournament. This is the first time he played Rashid in tournament.
Rashid, I saw the first one against Ending Walker. Who else did he pick Rashid on today?
I'm guessing his final game against CQ, but I'm not sure. I haven't seen that
Oil
one.
King, lesson learned, man. Oil King, Problem X, some of these guys, man, if they'd have whipped out their new characters a bit earlier, we could be looking at completely different tables here. But you see the standings and results there. And again, another person who's looking to change characters but still didn't feel ready was, of course, Luffy. And a Hot Dog who was sitting in a great position at the start of the day, but a vital match against 4 Fields put him in a terrible state. And this match obviously went down to the wire, and it was actually Luffy getting himself his first victory here this weekend, Damascus.
Yeah, it's a classic. I mean, it feels like Luffy, we said it earlier, right? He wouldn't leave here without bank, he wouldn't leave without a win. And to be quite honest, this match I don't think mattered anyway, because Fields beat Daigo on the B Street 2-0. So Fields was qualified regardless. That was like a match to see, you know, who leaves with a W, and that was Luffy. And yeah, that match was a very you know, Manon-sided. Every once in a while you get that one Manon match. And
no, the big match in this group was 4 Fields versus Hot Dog. And 4 Fields had Hot Dog and Daigo at the start of the day. You've got to be thinking, you know, if you're a betting man, you're not sure your boy 4 Fields is going to do it. He had other plans. He beat both of them. He beat both of them very well as well, I must say. He really cruised against Daigo and qualifies himself there in 2nd place.
And you've got to say, for right, that with Daigo losing to the 4 Fields, there is only 1 player undefeated in Gamers8 right now. It's RD.
Yes, it is.
RD. That's
and we said coming into this, even though Angry Bird won EVO, I think if you're going off the short tenured history of Street Fighter 6, the best Street Fighter 6 player right now, you've got to say it's Mena, especially after these last few days of performing. No one can touch the guy right now, Vicious.
No doubt. I mean, with his accolades going into EVO and then also going into this right now, you got to expect him to be a very, very hungry player, especially how it went down at EVO Grand Finals, right? That's just how he goes. He bounces back so well from some of these really, really big losses. And with all that energy going into it and all the research that he's had, being able to look at every single tape, this is easily the most dangerous Mena RD will be thus far.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Damascus, but I believe our group stages are finalized.
Yes,
and we
sir.
have our top 16. Why don't we take a look at the 2 players that have qualified from each group over these last 3 days of Street Fighter action. This is how it stands. Talk me through the first half of this, Damascus.
It's Mena Phenom, obviously that's kind of expecting, you know, seeing how this group went. Otani had one chance to 2-0 Phenom earlier, but that didn't go at all. Group B with the nephew absolutely clutching that first place, Vicious.
Yeah, no doubt. Then moving on into Group C, Zen versus Punk. I feel like that was a little bit of group effort in that block, right? Because of Kudo hooking up Punk with the alley-oop, if I'm not mistaken. Then over to Group D, no, I'm sorry, that was Angry Bird, and I do believe that's Kills You with a big clutch performance earlier today.
The absolute clutch from Kills You, man. Angry Bird, of course, the clutch as well. The way Angry Bird won against MOV and clutching that first place, we stopped believing in the first place. But he ended up making it. That was absolutely amazing. And of course, the remaining 4 groups are the ones we just broke down with Big Bird Knuckle Doo, with Kakeru VX Bao, DCQ Takamura, and last but not least, of course, Daigo and 4 Fields the top 16 is set. And as I said, right, the first of groups are all playing second of groups. And let me be real, looking at these seconds, like, I don't see which second is easier than the first there, man.
It's difficult, man. The seeding is going to be all over the place, but at the same time, it's like it really comes down.
Seeding
like,
is cringe. Just play.
Just play the game,
Just play,
man.
no seeding.
I get it.
What's the biggest, very quickly, biggest shock elimination after this round of double round robin that we've seen over the last 3 days, guys? Who's your shock eliminated? Anyone stand out to you?
I mean, I would say that massive shock or anything. Mr. Crimson. Still like I think I was surprised. Crimson had such a good start as well. The way he dismantled Xian in day 1, the way he played really good. He also had a group where there was 2 juries. That's his training partner. Like, he plays Kills You all the time. When I saw that group, I was like, all right, Crimson kind of got blessed with the group. He should be able to make it through, but the competition was a bit too strong for him.
I felt like I don't have one that's like from picking in the beginning of the group phase up until this point. I think the only one I had in mind was Vegapatch actually falling the way he did today. I thought he was in the clear run because of how consistent and how good he was playing against one of the big candidates to move on, which was Angry Bird, right? He had that huge win against him yesterday, and then Kills You just kind of snuck up into the rankings.
Mine's probably Valmaster, just because even though going into this, like,
bro, I saw that group. He was done.
No, exactly. Going into this, yes. No, he's right. Going into, but guys, but watch Valmaster play, and it's a different story. He almost beat Kakeru. He took out VX Bao. He looked like he could do it, but unfortunately wasn't to be the case. Listen, guys, that sets us up for some pretty tasty matches, and I got news for you guys. Opening match in the top 16 is gonna be none other than Street Fighter 6's most informed player versus arguably the most informed player in Street Fighter 5 history. It's Punk versus Mena RD to kick things off. Yes, that's happening.
The CEO run back.
That's happening, baby. That's gonna be next. So, I mean, I don't know how you guys feel about that one. Talk to me.
It's a coin toss. I feel like Punk is never one to kind of shy away from going into the lab and figuring out what happened in the replays. He talks a big game, but he also plays an extremely big game. This one is so hard to call. I feel like I don't even know.
Punk ever beaten Mena in tournament in FF6? Because that's the question. As far as I can remember, when these two
from like
met,
weekly events, I don't even know.
Yeah, Mena. As far as I know, right? Mena RD is the one always taking it. So now is the moment for Punk to just change it.
On some of the bigger stages, I do believe Mena RD has had like the W's over Punk, but then in terms of like weeklies, they are pretty much as big as some of the big events because of how many people are joining day after day. So I'd have to really, absolutely, we'd have to really dive into the stats for that one.
I'll have to actually, unfortunately, tell you guys, I believe Problem X and Punk were playing Blanca Cami, and Problem thinks that match is a solid 6-4, maybe even worse, in Blanca's favor. So we'd be surprised to see Mena not whip out the Blanca, and Punk's got some stuff to do. Unless he goes jury, right? We've seen him go jury in that match before, and he did look pretty good against Mena at Evo. You know, Mena clutched it out in the end. I don't think it's as bad as Problem says, but then there might be some stuff Problem knows that Mena doesn't. I don't know, guys. We're gonna find out. We need to take a short break now. It's been a crazy 3 days of group stage action. When we get back from the break, it's gonna be top 16, double elimination, traditional Street Fighter 6 action, all playing for the best share of this $1 million prize pool. During the break, before we go to the break, I have to say, we have 2 very talented individuals to talk you guys through what we call Teacher's Lab in the local boys, Angry Bird and Big Bird from Gamers8 Esports. Take it away, guys.